Hey guys, it's Chuck, and thanks for taking a few minutes to stop by me and see me in my shop. Today we're going to talk about tailstock DROs. Good buddy Randy Richard just recently made one for, I think, his lance lathe, where he used magnets to attach both the reed head onto the tailstock and also the connection as the quill would extend. The magnet was what was making the pull or the push, the pull. I tried to find the video. I know I filmed it some time ago. I'm going to say maybe 2 years ago. I actually put one on my closing, and I'll pick the camera up and we'll talk about it real quick on what I did. And the goal of this video is doing the same thing to my Monarch 10EE. I've been spoiled by having it on the closing. It's just so nice when you need to drill to a depth rather than trying to read the graduations on the quill. I imagine if you did it every day between the graduations on the quill and using a scale, you know, you'd be pretty damn good at it. I don't do it enough, can't see on top of that, so the little caliper installation just works fantastic. So I've been walking by the 10EE ever since I owned it, and keep looking at how to install one on there. And you'll see when we move the camera, the tailstock on the 10EE is not square. It's kind of a molded unit. So finally the other day I walked by and looked at it again, and it's kind of the way I seem to fabricate. When I can't figure out something, I leave it there and I continue to walk by every other day or a couple days, and finally it hits me on how to proceed. And it hit me the other day, and I think I'm going to have a successful build. So let's pick up the camera, and we'll talk about the one on the closing and how I did that, and then we'll move down and discuss what's happening on the 10EE. Okay, we're here at the closing, and this is a Harbor Freight $9 caliper, and the way I attached it on this unit was this adapter plate right here that attaches to the back of the caliper was off of a setup for the mill, the DRO setup for the quill on the mill. I had switched it over to a different unit, and the reed head was bad on the one on the quill, so I stole that part off of it. So one screw, a little bit of adjustability, and that's how I attached it there. You can see I cut off all the parts on the caliper, and then I, with a pin and one bolt, I went to my adapter piece, and then my adapter piece is, you can see it's, what is it? It's, I can see, it's about a quarter-inch thick down here where it attaches to the quill. And what I did is I actually drilled and tapped the end of the quill and added this piece on and shaped this piece so that it would work with all my tooling. Let's see if we can possibly move down, and you can see, and we'll go sideways, handheld here. And I can't see what you're seeing there, but you can see it works fine. And the readout, you can turn it on. I think you guys are lined up. All right, come on, there we go. And I don't know if that's glared out or not, but the readout's there, and you can zero, move it anyway, zero, and you can zero it out. Come on, sit still, zero it out. The only issue about this inexpensive Harbor Freight is if if I moved it and I've got a reading there and it powers off, when it comes back up it goes back to 0. But for the quill, that's fine. So let's move down to the 10EE and we'll talk about my plans down there. I'm not a real big fan of drilling holes in tools. I did it on this one because that's the best I could figure out. Okay, so here we're at the 10EE, and this is the handle that locks the quill. And what I did is there's a raised boss there, and I drilled this plate so that it didn't interfere with the boss. At first I was trying to figure out a way to lock it down under here, but that didn't work. But this is clearance and it works fine. As you can see, this whole top of the tailstock is there's nothing flat. So what I ended up doing is I bedded it in Bondo and got it to an installation. I was hoping that the Bondo would adhere both to the metal and to the tailstock. I didn't clean the paint off the tailstock, so it adhered to the metal plate and it did not adhere to the tailstock, which was fine. So I actually it worked out. I was actually filing underneath and cleaning it up to get it level, and typical Chuck going 100 miles an hour, can't slow down for nothing. I came up with the idea of using crazy glue to adhere it to the painted surface, and you can see I'm hitting it. It ain't going anywhere. Well, it's going to go somewhere. I'm going to take it back off. I'm actually, when I eyeballed it, I'm about 25 thousandths out of level. Is it a big deal in my world? Probably not, but I'm going to attempt heating this up with a heat gun, pull it off, shape it a little better, put it on, and then the double stick tape there was just for a mock-up. I'll end up gluing the back of the caliper down also onto it, since it becomes so strong, and you can still access the battery compartment, and I think that'll work out fine. Again, we'll get the caliper reading, and hence that's why I want to make sure it's on level and it's on straight to get the best reading. So then the next thing is the attachment onto the quill. Now, I'm not let me grab it. I had made one for before I did the one on the closing, I had made something like this that came out with a dial indicator on a magnet that would touch that. But the thing is just, way too big and bulky hanging out there. So my plan, so I hit the camera a couple times, my plan is to, is this one will be much smaller, and this is all a permanent installation, one time. So I'm going to build a very similar adapter that I did on the closing to, I'm sorry for hitting the goddamn camera, very similar to what I did on the closing, and my thought is I'm going to super glue this new piece onto here, and that'll allow the tooling to eject. I've already been fooling around with that to come up with it. The only other modification I'm trying to decide if I want to do it or not, since I'm going to pull this plate back off, is do I want to cant the plate so that I can see the little readout a little bit better. And that presents more problems with alignment and everything else, so I may leave it just flat like that. We'll see what kind of mood I get in here. Okay, so I'll bring you back, and we'll move on and see how this build goes. Here's a little update. So I removed the plate, excuse me, removed the plate and cleaned it. I cleaned the paint off of the tailstock where I wanted to bed this unit, and then I redid it with Bondo to rebed it, and Got a nice solid mount again. So no crazy glue on that one. And I got the unit level with the machine. So now I'm moving on to building the piece for right here. And let me reposition the camera. So I've got the part in the 4-jaw chuck centered on this hole. This green represents the quill. This hole will get larger so that the tools can go in the quill. And then I want a raised boss from here to this green area. So you can see I'm just starting to make a cut here, and I probably want 50, maybe even 100 thousandths. So I'm just working on that. Okay, I got the boss about 120 thousandths deep, I think, when I went. No plans on this, just kind of winging it. So now I got to open up that center hole to 700 thousandths. There's a 11/16 taper shank drill, and we'll go ahead and punch a hole in it. Now we'll bore the hole. I'm going to take it up to around 700 thousandths and check it. It doesn't have to be anything exact. Okay, here's the block. And in retrospect, this is probably a little bit too tall, which I can mill that deck down. And then the whole part is still too thick. I think I can show you over here. You're almost in. But right now, there's the tailstock in, and that is going to attach to the end of the quill. But right now, it's too thick, and so the Morse taper won't grab there. I think you can see that. So, but it's nice and loose on the Morse taper, so that's not going to be an interference there. So I think I'm on my way. So over to the mill now. Okay, a little handheld here. So what I did is took a piece of Delrin, turned it so that my block fits on it, and then turned it so it just went in the front of the quill. Have it held in the 6-jaw, so that way it would give me alignment. And I was pretty close on my estimate there. You can see the 2 lines, and that's when the caliper is sitting here, and it allows me to align the caliper also by doing that. So off to the mill and start milling this guy. Okay, I'm going to take 50 thousandths off that boss. It's just a little too tall. That was 25, and here it's 50. Great little milling cutter. Well, I didn't film milling this, but I got the piece cut down to 1/4 inch thick, and this is the boss that the caliper will go to. So I still need to cut it on this line right here, which I'll have to set it up on a pallet because, let me because of the boss here on the other side, I can't hold it on this on the vise, so I'm going to have to put it on a pallet. And then you can possibly see these lines. I think this is the shape that I'm going to shoot for. So all these square corners come off, except for this flat up here. So we'll get it set up on a pallet and get it cleaned up. Just a quick shot. Got the parts set up on the pallet. Pretty simple. Got to just use the square, line it up, and then I'm just cutting to the lines. I got 3 lines to cut to create that little pad, and bolted it down. So it's sitting up on that boss right now, and there's a space underneath, but it'll be fine. Just a quick shot. Got it mocked up there again, and then you might be able to see the lines where the radiuses will come up into it. So it's getting closer. Well, I learned this from watching Robin when he made special tooling out of a couple of calipers. So here we go. I thought I'd show you the setup to cut the other part of the caliper. I was trying to get it set up on a magnetic parallel, but I wasn't getting good support or bite. So what I've done is I've got it on an angle block. The angle block does have a step in it, so the back of the caliper is square and registered on that step. And then I put an adjustable parallel under the end here to support the end, and now I can make the cuts on here. Not going to show you the cuts, but I thought I'd just show you the setup. Okay, we've got the caliper all put back together, and I have it mounted on the piece of aluminum, and I've got it set up here on an angle block, and I've got the flat there so I can set it up in the mill. Got it clamped here with the cant twist, and going to use number 5 Allen socket heads. Got the tap drill, and the clearance drill. So we'll put two bolts in here to secure it. And I've got the edge here flush, so that way I know the unit is running square. So we'll get it in the mill and get some screws in this guy. Well, this is the end of part 1 because Bozo paid me a visit. See, I drilled and tapped the hole. I got the caliper over here, and I pulled a tap from my tap file that I got up there. and I ended up tapping, I thought I was tapping for that there, which was a 540, and I ended up doing a 640, and I don't have any bolts. So that's the end of this one, and we'll finish it up next week. Old Bozo got me. Things were going good too. Damn. Hey, where'd you go? Bozo, how come you didn't keep Mr. Bozo out? Right? You were supposed to sit down. You were supposed to keep Mr. Bozo out. Sit down. Where'd you go? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go outside. Come on. Go. Go. Now you bark at Mr. Bozo. Yeah, he got my ass. It's your fault. Got to blame somebody. Come on. You got it. Let's go. Let's go check. Let's go. Let's go check. Let's go check your pee. Okay. Let's go. Bastard. Hey. Okay, I know you want to go outside.